Welcome. In today's video, we're going to be doing some major cooling system upgrades on the SquareBody. The first thing we're going to be installing is a high flow water pump from Flowkooler. And then the second thing, we're going to be installing a 3-row all aluminum radiator with electric fan shroud from AlloyWorks. With these two together, the cooling system should be squared away for a long time. So let's get into it. You guys are joining me part way into the install of the water pump right now. I had to remove the timing cover to get to the water pump bolts on the back side of it. So a majority of what I've been doing has been disassembly of pretty much everything on the cooling system and the timing cover on the block. And it has been pretty difficult because of the amount of grease and oil and dirt that has been on this thing. From looking at it, the water pump looks like the original red block water pump that came with it in 1982. So I would say about 40 years of oil, grease, dirt buildup has made this about twice as long as it should have been so far. So I've been doing a lot of cleaning on top of disassembly, but now we're at a great point to start putting this thing back together. So far, I have everything cleaned up and good to go. I have the water ports on the top of the block completely cleaned up, and then the mating surface on the block for the timing chain cover, I got it so clean you could eat off of it, because there's 2 more ports here on the bottom that the coolant goes through, that the water pump pushes the coolant through, and I didn't really want to have any dirty surfaces between these two since they share the timing chain cover. So I didn't want any oil leaks possibly going in there and seeping into the coolant, or any coolant seeping into the oil. So I've really taken my time on cleaning this entire thing up just so we don't run into that issue, because I would say out of 10, for my skills, this is about a 7 or 8. So it has been a little bit difficult, but a majority of it has been just time consuming. So I've really just wanted to take my time on cleaning this entire thing up so it's done right the first time and I don't have any issues. So this is completely good to go. The timing chain cover is as clean as can be. So now I'm going to bolt the water pump to it, and then we could get to mounting the water pump and the timing chain cover to the block. All right, now it's time to install the water pump onto the timing chain cover. I got everything extremely clean. Now I just got to kind of get this set up however it's going to go. There we go. Get it like that. Kind of hold it in place. Got all the bolt holes lined up. And then it goes just like this. I know people are going to say like, hey, why aren't you using RTV? I've had pretty good luck with just using the straight up Velcro gasket with no RTV. So that's what I'm going to do on this. There is a couple channels though on the timing cover, or where the timing cover meets the block, that I will be putting some RTV. But just for this, it looks like I won't need any. Because I've had pretty good luck with just using the straight up Velcro gasket. And with researching too, that's kind of what they said on their website. Just have everything clean and extremely dry, and you should have 0 issues with install. So I'll get all these started by hand. I will need to look up if there's any torque specs, but if not, I'll just use the classic German saying, the Guten tight, and or good and tight. I'll get all these snug, kind of go in a crisscross pattern, because I really don't want to do this again. I want to be one and done with timing chain cover and water pump installs. I want to get to camping in this thing, not keep working on it. All right, I got all of them finger tight. Now, flip that around. Kind of snug everything up. I think I missed that one, or no, missed this one. Okay. What was weird is when I took off the timing chain cover, these bolts were actually pretty loose. I expect them to be a lot tighter, but it is on there. This, in my opinion, is a horrible design because the water ports go through the timing cover into the block. So sharing all of this, I am not a fan of, but I guess if you ever have to replace your timing chain or timing gears, like what's on mine, which kind of blew me away, at least it's easy to access since it's on the front of the motor, and your water pump should already be good to go then. I'll just snug these down just a little bit more. I know I'll probably have somebody in the comments going, hey, those are way too tight, but I do the same thing on the Jeep, and I've had zero issues with the Felpro gasket that I've used on the Flowkooler high flow water pump on the XJ. So figured if it's not broke, don't fix it. So now this is good to go, and let's move on to installing the timing cover on. All right. What sucks is how heavy this is. I got to make sure I just have the right bolts in the right spots. I'll set this down here. Kind of get the first bolt lined up. Man, this is a pain in the butt since the water pump weighs like 10 pounds. It feels like 15 pounds. All right, I got the first top bolts finger tight to help hold it. So I figured since we're here in, obviously in Arizona, and diesel motors, they don't go to extremely high RPMs. At least this 6.2 doesn't. This Flowkooler water pump should be within, its high flow range, which is I think 0 to 3,500 RPMs, pretty much the entire time while we're driving it. So it should be just moving a ton of coolant through the system. But I will let you guys go. I'm going to get the rest of these bolts on here, get them snug, and then I'm going to put this pretty much all the way together so it is completely done. So then we'll move on to replacing this radiator with the 3-row all aluminum AlloyWorks radiator. Well, it took a little while, but I got everything in the front end all back together. I got the alternator on there in tight, same thing with the power steering pump. Got the belt pulley on there tight with some red Loctite. Got some brand new hoses on there, and it is so much cleaner in the front end. There was so much grease, you couldn't recognize any of these bolts, any of that, with how much grease and oil and dirt that was on there. But I also got the coolant transfer pipe on there with new gaskets, even the thermostat with the housing and new gasket. Everything is tight and good to go. So since that is good, let's tackle this radiator. We'll get this radiator pulled. We'll get those oil cooler lines off of the passenger side and the trans lines off of the driver's side, and we'll get this radiator out and start getting that AlloyWorks radiator in. So before we get started pulling the radiator on the truck, I wanted to talk to you guys about the AlloyWorks radiator. They are the only 6.2 liter diesel all aluminum radiator I could find with the cooler hookups for the trans and the motor. So I, kind of shot an email off to them, asked them if they wanted to work with us, and they were excited too. So they sent us out the all aluminum radiator with the cooler fans on the back. And the main reason why I even messaged them too was because they had a 6.2 liter diesel specific radiator, but they also have XJ radiators. They have an all aluminum 3-row and an all aluminum 4-row. with the electric fan hookups for the back also. So I figured I'll work with that company that provides a radiator for both of our rigs, the XJ and the SquareBody. And whoever watches this, SquareBody owners or, you know, my XJ people, they have all aluminum radiator choices for all of us. So I figured it'd be a great collab since they provide XJ radiators. And since I kind of got that out, I'm going to get started on pulling this radiator. Then once we get it out, we'll get to installing the new one. Well, we have the radiator fully installed with no wiggle or anything like that. It is in there tight, so we should have zero issues with that. The only thing I had to do is the radiator mounts up here on top. I had to bend down to go around the front of the radiator. But these are good to go, both radiator mounts and all of that. But the issue we are running into is the engine oil cooler lines. They just went along the back side of the radiator inside the fan shroud with the original setup. But I am running into clearance issues with the electric fans. So I do have a plan. Before you guys go in the comments and start freaking out, I am going to use a pipe cutter and cut these aluminum lines, and then I'm going to hose clamp rubber lines to just run along the back side of these fans, and then I'm going to use this side of the aluminum line to go inside of the cooler ports on the radiator. So I'll cut them like right around this area on each side, and then I will slide the rubber hose 2, 3, 4 inches onto each one, and then use a couple of hose clamps just to make sure we will have zero leaks. I figured since, you know, we're having clearance issues, that's maybe my best bet to get this job done and not have any leaks or any failures with our oil cooler lines. Obviously the plan in the future is just to get rid of them or run them to an external cooler and not use the radiator at all. Just keep the radiator for the coolant. And that would be my plan for the transmission also. But I am gonna get these measured out, get them cut, get everything mocked up, and then I will put the rubber hose on here with a couple hose clamps each side, so it will completely avoid the back of the fans and not cause any clearance issues. So if I do run into any issues, I will get you guys. If not, you'll see the final product. Well, here is the progress. I have the engine cooler lines cut with a pipe cutter. I cut them somewhere up here, and then I overlapped the hose and the aluminum lines by 6 to 8 inches on each side. And then I double hose clamped them just to make sure they do not leak, because I did not want to run them along the back side of the fans in case a zip tie broke or the fastener broke. The hose could flop into the belt setup. So I ran them over the top of the fans just like that. Let me show you the other side real quick. And this is how I have it going. I have the bottom hose running underneath the top one down into the aluminum line into the radiator. And then I have the top line, you know, running into the top. And they are easily 6 to 8 inches overlapping with double hose clamps also. And they are zip tied in place. I just wanted to do this route so I leave it open on the back side of the fans so I don't hit the belts. But it should hold. I mean, those hose clamps are extremely tight. So we're gonna keep rolling from here. I just have to put the radiator hoses on, and then from there, we're gonna be wiring up electric fans. Well, we got the electric fans completely wired up with the relay, and for anybody that buys this kit, I will go over how I wired up the relay, which will help you guys since the kit does not come with an instruction manual. So the relay comes with a white, blue, black, and red wire. The red wire goes to a power, you know, a constant power since it has an inline fuse. The white wire goes to your thermal switch, which I use the coupler that I grounded out to the firewall. So at 180 degrees, it kicks on with the electric fans, and at 165 degrees, it kicks off. And then I have the black wire. I tied it into a red wire because that's the only color wire I have, but I wired that up to a ignition power source. So when I turn the key on, it has power, and then when I turn the key off, it turns off. And that was for my windshield wipers. So that kind of worked out for me perfect there. Then the last one is the blue wire. And on the back of the fans, they came with a blue and black wire. So this blue wire ties into the power on the fans. So that is the power source to both of the electric fans. And then the black wire on the fans, I ended up grounding out along with the ground to the coupler for the thermal switch. So that is the setup for the relay and the electric fans for the power. And I've had zero issues with it. It has worked perfect so far. And the only reason I didn't use the thermal relay from the kit is because I can't find a spot on the block to put the 3/8 probe. So I ended up buying this coupler from American Volt that has a 1/8 probe that worked out perfect on the upper radiator hose. I know the best bet is putting it in the block in the water jacket where it is the hottest, but since I couldn't find that spot, I figured on the upper radiator hose right when the thermostat opens would be, you know, a good alternative. And that right there is the install of the Flowkooler high flow water pump and the AlloyWorks 3-row all aluminum radiator with the electric fan setup. It would have been a lot easier if I didn't have to clean off 40 years of grease off the block and reroute those oil cooler lines. I really appreciate you guys watching. Check the description. I will have a discount code and a link to AlloyWorks website for you guys. So you guys will get a 5% discount on any of their radiators. And a huge reason why I did this install and chose AlloyWorks was because of their XJ radiators too. So the SquareBody guys and the XJ guys can get all aluminum radiators for their rigs to keep these things cool. And again, I really appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, you guys. Huge difference and keeps this thing cool because you know, since I have gotten the truck, it has been getting warm here and there driving it, so I can't drive it longer distances. But I think the 180 thermostat, the all aluminum radiator with the electric fans, and the high flow water pump will make a world of difference.